think.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call this Lake Mills City Council meeting to order for January 18th, 2022. Can we have a roll call, Betsy?
Ms. Curler?
Here.
Mr. Waters?
Here.
Mrs. Bishop?
Here.
Ms. Quidnow?
Here.
Mr. Fields?
Here.
All present.
All right, thank you, Betsy. Would everyone please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. We'll look at the correction and approval of the City Council minutes of December 21st, 2021. Any comment on that?
Well, Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the City Council minutes from December 21st of 2021.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Ms. Curler, second by Mr. Fields. Any comment, questions? Seeing none, I'll approve those minutes into our record. Correspondence. Start clear over on the right, Ms. Curler. Any correspondence since our last meeting? I know it's been about a month, but.
Just had one contact regarding Commons Park and the Mill Pond.
Okay. Mr. Fields?
I did not have any.
All right. I had some communication on the Rock Lake Activity Center and several correspondence from the community on the emergency medical services. So that seems to be a hot topic, and I know we'll be talking more about that in the future. Ms. Quidnow.
I also had communication regarding the EMS contract and what that looks like, and questions about a specific area of Lake Mills where I live. So that was information that I could handle, but other than that, none.
Okay. Ms. Bishop?
Yes, I had some general correspondence, so I'll just go down the issues list about Sandy Beach, what's next, and when those RFPs are due. A couple of correspondence about Lake Mills EMS, one about the executive search, and again, sort of what's next and how does that work. Correspondence about the Mill Pond, and correspondence about the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay. Great, thank you. All right, moving on. We'll go to the question and public comment. We do not have a public hearing tonight, so the public is encouraged to address the council at this time regarding items on the agenda. Public comment may also be made at this time on items that are not on the agenda if you've registered with the city clerk before the meeting has been called to order. The state's open meeting law discourages action by the council on items not listed on the agenda. Please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes and state your name and address when starting your comments, and fill out the sign-in sheet provided. So open the floor. Is there anybody that would like to address the council? Doesn't look like anybody here in person. Anybody online? One more request. Is there any public comment tonight? Hearing none, I'll move on to the city manager's report. Mr. Wilkie.
You've been provided with the treasurer's reports, the general voucher summaries, and the check registers and the police report. Are there any questions? Because it probably have to be Betsy or Mick anyways.
It's a very, very thorough report from Betsy, so thank you for all that, Betsy. Any comment from anybody? Seeing none, let's move forward to the next item on our agenda, which is the Councilmember Board Report and acceptance of minutes from the Joint Rock Lake Committee of September 21st, 2021, September 23rd, 2021, October 14th, 2021, and November 23rd, 2021, and the Public Works Board of November 9th, 2021. So we have all these minutes included in our work agenda for tonight. I think everyone had a chance to review. Is there any questions on any of those, or does a council member want to give any additional reporting? Ms. Curler.
I'd just like to make a comment, or I guess ask a question regarding the Joint Rock Lake Committee. I know we have 2 vacancies, which are the 2 city seats on that committee. Have you received any applications for those, or what should we be doing to fill those seats?
I have not received any applications. I've talked to 3 people that have expressed some interest and worked them along the process, but none of those 3 actually ended up applying. So
Okay.
nothing there, but actively looking. So if anyone is out there that's interested, please drop me a line and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think it's an important committee that can help us, especially if we're thinking about moving forward with any efforts related to the mill pond. You know, that committee could help serve that effort, and if we don't have any city reps on it, then, you know, it puts us in a bad position.
Yeah, the way the board's structured is there's 3 positions from the township and 2 from the city, and currently the 2 from the city are vacant.
Right. All right,
Any other
well,
questions?
we'll just have to keep looking for folks that want to serve on it. Thanks.
See no other questions. I'll accept the minutes into our record. Moving into council business. Item A is a decision on a request for Legendary Lake Mills, a chamber Main Street organization, to use the community center for a fundraiser, Knickerbocker Trivia Night. So there's a motion, 22-1-2-1. Betsy, can you read that motion?
Authorizing the use of Lake Mills Community Center by Legendary Lake Mills Chamber Main Street Organization.
Is there a motion?
I move to adopt motion 21-1-2-1, authorizing the use of Lake Mills Community Center by Legendary Lake Mills Chamber Main Street Organization.
Second.
So motion by Ms. Quidnell, second by Mrs. Bishop. Let's open this up to staff for a comment.
It's just part of the community center's policies that anybody who's using it to raise funds or use it for private business has got to get council approval. So they annually file for this.
All right, any questions? Ms.
Just a
Quidnell.
quick question, Steve. It wasn't clear
Curler,
from,
excuse me.
sorry. It wasn't clear from the application, but do they use these funds for to fund their own organization? Is that what they're for?
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have a question, Ms. Quidnell? I'm sorry.
No.
Ms. Bishop? Mrs. Bishop?
Yes, I have 2. First off, there's a note on the application that the fee will be paid. Has that in fact been paid?
I couldn't tell
There
you
is-
that.
There's a note on the application now that says that it has been received.
Okay, thank you. And then what class of user is the Lake Mills Community Center, is the Chamber Main Street Organization under this policy?
I guess they would be a Class B.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do you know how many years they've been holding this event?
Probably at least 6 or 7, maybe longer than that.
Okay. All right, if there's no other questions, I'll call for a roll call. Betsy?
Mr. Waters?
Aye?
Mrs. Bishop?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a discussion decision on redevelopment of Commons Park. And there's a motion of 22-1-2-2. Betsy, can you read that for us?
Motion 22-1-2-2, authorizing the Parks and Forestry Director to accept bids for the Commons Upgrade Project.
All right, can I have a motion from council?
I move to approve motion 22-1-2-2, authorizing the Parks and Forestry Director to accept bids for the Commons Upgrade Project.
I second.
All right, motion by Mrs. Bishop, second by Ms. Quidnow. All right, can we have a discussion from staff or Eric, either one? I guess Eric is part of staff.
Yeah, we'll start with
so-
Eric.
What's that?
He didn't really want to talk.
Make sure that microphone's on when you get up there.
Is there anything specific you guys would like to know?
So there's, with the mound, you're reworking that to make it handicap accessible. Is the meat of the project?
That was, in Parks Board, we determined out of the potential things in phase one that was the first thing we wanted to tackle as far as our priorities. It was initially in the corp to move the actual structure on top of the veterans mound. It would be ground level on a hardscape surface. It was pretty difficult to find bids for that process to actually happen. No one wanted to take the liability to move it. So the alternative was to do a handicap ramp up to it.
And then to add sidewalks to make it more accessible?
Yep, so one of the spending requirements, or I suppose stipulations to the active living grant for Watertown Community Health is that it has to have some form of outdoor inclusivity, like influence outdoor recreation. One of the things that they specifically added was park interior sidewalks was one of their suggestions. It gets people inside the park, not just walking around it, influences a little bit more dog walking paths and stuff like that. So the actual route of the park, or the sidewalk going through the park, was decided to be the corners of Main and Madison to the corner of Main and Lake. And we avoided as many trees as possible and kind of created a bit of an intentional meandering path so people could travel through the park.
Any other questions? Yes.
First of all, congratulations on receiving that grant. That's a sizable grant, and that'll allow a lot of upgrades, so I appreciate your work on that. I was a little curious about the sign at the northwest corner. The plan, or the concept plan that we saw showed that being removed, whereas the one on the southwest side just said it was, or it's not impacted. And so I just wanted to make sure that we'll still have some good signage there at the northwest end, since that's kind of an entrance way to the downtown. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, since it's a conceptual plan, some of the things I can see being a little bit misunderstood on the plans, but our intentions were to have it meet exactly up with the crosswalk sections for those intersections. The sign itself is not going to be removed, it's going to be relocated to avoid the actual path of the sidewalk. It's going to be negligible within a couple feet of just being moved, most likely east of where it sits now.
Okay, super. And then I had one more question about I know in the comprehensive outdoor rec plan, it talks about a need for improving access to the band shelter for driving. This would not serve that purpose, right? Because this is really a walking path, and it doesn't really seem to have any connections to the shelter, right?
That was one of the things we thought about doing phase one. It seemed like it would be a fairly easy thing to tackle. Most of the work that we're doing is basically concrete work for this project. Just with the pricing and the actual grant stipulations that has to be spent in 2022, the first price goal came around $130,000 with the inclusion of the bandstand access. And the amount of iterations that we went to make it fit in that price was something we didn't necessarily feel comfortable putting in the park, just from where it laid out. We're looking to have something a little bit more user-friendly and include that in phase two.
Okay, great. And just last, one other compliment, I guess I know one of the objectives overall in the corp is the outdoor recreation plan is to improve access for the disabled, and I think you've really done that here, as well as at Bartles with the new playground, so thank you for your attention to that.
Oh, absolutely. I know the veterans were very positive as well. I think one of their thoughts was they'd at least be able to have some handicapped veterans access to the memorial itself.
Yeah,
So.
that's great, thank you.
Any other questions? Mrs. Bishop?
Yes, Mr. Schreiner, the preamble for the grant approval letter talks about a project start date in January and a project end date for 3/31 of this year. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get the project done before then. Is the foundation aware of that, and have they approved this timeline?
Yep, you're absolutely right. So initially, that was one of the first things we changed immediately. This was our signed grant acceptance basically, but it has been moved to calendar year of 2022 completion date. So the expected or required completed date is December 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Or comments? All right, seeing none, let's call for a roll call.
Actually, Mr. President, I
one
would
more?
like to make an amendment to the motion, just to clarify that this is the first phase, because I did get a comment from a citizen that when they just saw the item title on the agenda, they thought it was like a comprehensive redevelopment of Commons Park, and this is really only the first phase. So I'd like to propose, or I'd like to make a motion to amend Motion 22-1-2-2 under the second whereas, the second and third lines, just to amend that slightly so that it would read, proposed upgrades to the west side of Commons Park, and to proceed as noted in the Facilities and Grounds Director's memo dated January 11th, 2022. And I can repeat that if needed. So it just gives the context that it's just upgrades to the west side, and then it reflects the date of Mr. Schreiner's memo.
I second that motion.
Would you repeat the amendment, please?
Sure. So under the second whereas paragraph, revise the second and third lines so that they read, proposed upgrades to the west side of Commons Park, and to proceed as noted in the Facilities and Grounds Director's memo dated January 11th, 2022.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have that, Betsy?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. So there's a motion for an amendment by Mrs. Curler and a second by Mrs. Bishop. Is there any comment or questions on that? Seeing none, can we just have a raise of hands? All those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hands. That's a 5-0. All right, so we're going to push forward with. You have a question, Betsy?
I just wanted to make clear that that was a vote on the amendment to the motion, correct?
Correct. So now we're going to vote on the actual motion with the amendment to pass the body of work here.
Thank you.
All right, so this next vote will be on motion, the amended motion, 22-1-2-2. Do we need to read through that amended motion, or is everybody good on that? I think we're all good. All right. Let's have a roll call then on the passage of the amended motion. Betsy?
Mrs. Bishop?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Fantastic. Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you.
All right, moving forward to resolution 22-1, contract for county library services. Betsy, can you read the resolution?
Authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement between the city of Lake Mills and Jefferson County.
All right, can I have a motion from the council on resolution 22-1?
I move to approve Resolution 22-1, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement between the city of Lake Mills and Jefferson County.
I'll second.
So motion by Mrs. Bishop, a second by Mr. Fields. Staff comment.
That's a pretty regular contract that we sign with the county that says that they get to send us money if we do certain things, which we historically do, which is make sure we spend a certain amount of money on library. And we allow town residents to use our services. That being said, they provide us with $119,195, so it's pretty much the gist of it. You'll see this on a pretty regular basis as long as you're on the council.
All right.
I've seen it for 20 years.
Any questions or comment? Seeing none, let's have a roll call vote.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Mrs. Bishop?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Resolution 22-2, Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. Betsy, can you read Resolution 22-2?
Resolution 22-2, resolution authorizing execution of the Department of Natural Resources Principal Forgiveness Financial Assistance Agreement.
All right, can I have a motion from council?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 22-2, authorizing the Principal Forgiveness Financial Assistance Agreement with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
A second.
All right, motion by Ms. Curler, second by Ms. Quidnow. Is there any comment from staff?
This is the grant that we get that helps us provide financial assistance to homeowners to remove their lead lateral services. It's in combination with one we've been doing now for at least 1 year. I think last year it was 75 at 350,000, and this year it's down to 300. So it's just something that helps us provide assistance to homeowners to remove lead lateral services. It's not 100%. We generally do 75. The homeowner has to provide some equity.
How many more years do you think we'll see this lead pipe replacement program going?
I think last year we replaced 49. And so we're still in the 212 range, Dwayne?
I'm pulling that up right now, 211, you're correct?
Yeah, so it depends on, the further we go out, the less likely it is that homeowners are gonna change, because some homeowners just don't care until their house sells, probably, so. But the program only goes out 3 years, so next year will probably be our final year, and then we'll have to see what they do after that. But this year we still think that we can get at least 50.
And the 211 is on the private side. On the public side, in the street, is lower, and that number is sitting at about 146 right now.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what that 146 number is. Could you?
So in the street, the city-owned portion or the utility-owned portion, many of those, the water main's been replaced and the service has been replaced to the curb box in the last 20 years on projects where the street project occurred, the service was replaced to the curb box, but the landowner decided not to replace theirs. So therefore,
They technically weren't even considering it because lead lateral services wasn't an issue until about 2011. So, you had 10, 15 years of projects where we replaced a ton of water mains. We put in all copper now. And then all of a sudden, lead lateral services became a big issue. So we had a lot more on the private side than we had on the public side. And that's what the difference is, 211 on the private side, 146 on the public side. And when we say the public side, from the water main to the property line is the city portion. So that's public. And then from the property line into the house is private.
Okay. So does this agreement work with the public side as well? No, it's only on the
No,
private
it's just
side?
private side.
Okay.
We're on our own nickel.
All right,
So if we have to replace theirs and ours is lead, we're forking out about $5,000 to $8,000.
all right.
So that's where we sometimes see patching throughout the community where a landowner has chosen to do theirs, and then the city needs to come in and do theirs as well.
Correct.
We're required to replace our portion if they replace their portion. That's why we encouraged people under this grant program to be in conjunction with our street projects. So the street projects that are in our capital improvement program currently are the ones that have the highest number of lead lateral services in them. So we're trying to make it so that we don't have a bunch of patches in the street. But yeah, I mean, I think Fremont was almost totally replaced with lead patches.
And Oak Street next year, or this coming year, I believe, has 6 in that block between Main and Mulberry.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, let's go to a roll call on Resolution 22-2.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Mrs. Bishop?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you.
And
Was there something?
Who made a motion on that one? On resolution
I did.
22?
That was Mrs. Curler with a second from Ms. Quidnow.
Thank you.
We good? We want to be good with the city attorney, that's important. Mr. Dressler, we're good?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, Resolution 22-3, grant reimbursement from TID 5 for Forum Development, LLC. Betsy, can you read Resolution 22-3?
Resolution 22-3, authorizing payment of TID number 5 reimbursement grant to Formul Development LLC, Drumlin Crossing Condominiums, 1204 South Main Street, parcel ID number 246-0713-2422005.
All right, can I have a motion from council?
I move to adopt Resolution 22-3, authorizing payment of TID number 5 reimbursement grant to Formul Development LLC.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Quidnow, second by Mr. Fields. City staff.
We're good.
We're good.
Nope, we're not.
City staff comment?
I'll start and let Dan finish it up. This is an agreement reached between the developers and the city when we were initially starting the development. The agreement is that at certain milestones, we would make payments to them based on the completion of that milestone. And so they have attained them one of the milestones. They have filed for reimbursement. Dan?
They've actually 2 on this one, Formul. They have completed the first building, which is like the far east end of the property. That's a 3-unit. The second building that's going up is the scheduled 5-unit. They have a building permit for that. Foundation has been poured, and I think completion of that building is scheduled probably early to midsummer at this point. I think they're a little bit ahead of schedule, and they'd probably like to get into work on building 3 as well. The reception has been generally good. I think it's a robust development, and this in line with or along with the Topel development and the redevelopment of that site, which is the next agenda item, are kind of remaking and cleaning up the south side. So hopefully these developments spur further investment in the area, and we see some good stuff in the future. So, but if you have any questions about the actual mechanism here or the agreements or what's going on, I'd be happy to address those as well.
Is there any questions or comment? All right, seeing none, let's move to a roll call vote.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Mrs. Bishop?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is Resolution 22-4, grant reimbursement from TID 5 for Topel towing. Betsy, can you read that resolution?
Resolution 22-4, authorizing payment of TID number 5 reimbursement grant to Topels Holding LLC, Topels Towing Redevelopment Project, 1110 South Main Street, parcel ID number 246071324220003.
All right, can I have a motion from council?
I'll move to approve Resolution 22-4, authorizing grant reimbursement from TID to Topels Holdings.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Ms. Curler, second by Mr. Fields.
I was trying to raise a couple of their mics because they're way low with my app and it didn't seem to work. So keep yours and then I'll.
All right, I'll repeat that real quick. We had a motion by Ms. Curler and a second by Mr. Fields. Staff comment on this? Or- This is similar to what we
It's
just
very
talked
similar.
about.
It's right next, it's properties right next to each other. This is the property that we went after when we did TID 5. So we did do a lot more on this one than we historically have ever done on a TID district or a TID project in the city of Lake Mills, but it is again part of the contract that we've agreed to provide payment at certain milestones.
All right, is there any questions or comment? Seeing none, let's move to a roll call vote on Resolution 22-4.
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Mrs. Bishop?
Aye.
Ms. Quidnow?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Ms. Curler?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
All right, next on the agenda is Ordinance 1230, petition for annexation, Schmidt Parcel 002-0714-1822-007. This is the first reading. So Betsy, I guess we're going to put you to work here on this one.
Yes.
Can you give us the first reading on Ordinance 1230?
Yes. Ordinance 1230, an ordinance annexing territory to the city of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, parcel ID number 002-0714-1822-007. The City Council of the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, does ordain as follows. Section 1, territory annexed. In accordance with Section 66.0217 Wisconsin statutes and the attached and incorporated petition for direct annexation signed by the owners of the property proposed to be annexed and filed with the city clerk on October 1st, 2021, the following territory in the town of Astalon, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, is annexed to the city of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Section 2, effective annexation. From and after the date of this ordinance, the territory described in Section 1 shall be part of the city of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, for any and all purposes provided by law, and all persons coming or residing within such territory shall be subject to all ordinances, rules, and regulations governing the city of Lake Mills. Section 3, ward designation. The territory described in Section 1 of this ordinance is hereby made a part of Ward 4 of the City of Lake Mills, subject to the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the City of Lake Mills governing wards. Section 4, severability. If any provision of this ordinance is invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect the other provisions or applications of this ordinance that can be given effect without the invalid or unconstitutional provision or application. Section 5, effective date. This ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as provided by law.
Thank you, Betsy. So that was the first reading, so there's no need for a motion tonight, but is there any questions or comment? And did you have something, Mr. Wilkie?
This parcel is on East Lake Street, out at the far end near the Arbor Creek subdivision. It was one of the original parcels in that area and remained in the town of Aslan. They need water and sewer. They have put in a request for certain considerations related to that water and sewer. Once they're annexed, we can have that conversation, but there are charges that were placed on the property in relationship to the water and sewer running past the property, so we'll have to deal with that at some point.
All right, so tonight was the first reading. Our next council meeting will have the second, and then on the third reading, we'll actually vote on the ordinance at that point. So it gives the community some ability to come in and comment if they want to on the ordinance, so. All right.
I don't know that I've ever had any comment on an annexation. Unless there was a forced annexation, then I've had some, but
I take it this is not a forced annexation.
no, they're in desperate need of water and sewer, so.
In a sense, I don't mean to overstep here. In a sense, it is, in that the county will not permit them to have a new septic or a repair to the septic that's existing. They're required under law to use utilities when they're available. So even though it is petitioned by the petitioner in this circumstance, there is a function of law that arguably requires them to conduct that. So semantics, I suppose.
This property has their own well and septic that they maintain themselves?
Yes, current, but it's failed. That's the problem. The
Okay.
septic is failed.
We're gonna see several more of those in the next 12 months.
If it's currently failed, is there, I don't see the petitioner here, but would there be a reason to motion for a second reading tonight?
We probably could on this one. The county is aware of it already. Both of these, this one and the next one, have gone through state review and are in front of the county right now. So we're not necessarily slowing up the process by being deliberate here. It may be at the next meeting that we've already heard back from the county and we can go ahead of that on either or both.
So the county doesn't require our action for them to vote on this?
They're already aware of it. I've spoken with
Okay.
Reimbursement, so they know it's basically coming. They're reviewing it right now.
They're not gonna make any changes now anyways, because the ground's frozen and they're gonna have to wait until spring at the earliest to take any action. So going through the 3 readings for this one isn't a big deal. The water and sewer, from our standpoint, is right in the front yard.
All right,
And
any,
I guess, just for one more, sorry, if you do look at the exhibits, the maps, you will note that, as Mr. Wilkie said, the kind of the remaining township, Aslan Township properties that are in this area are all town islands. This will be a function with those properties that you will see coming here in the future.
all right, any other questions?
And just to
Yes.
follow up on that last comment that you made, Mr. Drescher, that will be for similar reasons, for failing
All of that,
septics and,
because our utilities are available there, they will be required to hook up to those utilities in the event that their water, their well or their septic systems fail.
Now that they're town islands, though, you can just force annex them by action of law. You don't even have to wait for them to petition.
Correct.
That's why I said there's sometimes when there's forced annexations, other than them by action of state law, as Dan's pointed out. But sometimes we just annex them.
All right, any other questions? Or comments, I guess? Seeing none, we'll move forward to the next ordinance. Next on the agenda is ordinance 1231, petition for annexation, Farmers Merchant Bank, parcel 018-0713-1112-003 and 018-0713-112-004. This is the first reading. Betsy, you're welcome to read that.
Okay. Ordinance number 1231, an ordinance annexing territory to the city of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Parcel ID number 018-0713-1112-003 and 018-0713-1112-004. The City Council of the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin does ordain as follows. Section 1, Territory Annexed. In accordance with Section 66.0217 Wisconsin statutes and the attached and incorporated petition for direct annexation signed by the owners of the property proposed to be annexed and filed with the City Clerk on June 1st, 2021, the following territory in the town of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin is annexed to the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Section 2, Effective Annexation. From and after the dates of this ordinance, the territory described in Section 1 shall be part of the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, for any and all purposes provided by law, and all persons coming or residing within such territory shall be subject to all ordinances, rules, and regulations governing the City of Lake Mills. Section 3, Ward Designation. The territory described in Section 1 of this ordinance is hereby made a part of Ward 1 of the City of Lake Mills, subject to the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the City of Lake Mills governing wards. Section 4, Severability. If any provision of this ordinance is invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect the other provisions or applications of this ordinance that can be given effect without the invalid or unconstitutional provision of application. Section 5, Effective Date. This ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as provided by law.
Thank you, Betsy. That was a long reading, but you did an outstanding job. Thank you. All right, so that was the first reading. We do have the petitioners here tonight from Farmers Merchant Bank, so if someone could suspend our rules to allow them to talk, that would be great.
I move to suspend the rules to allow Farmers and Merchants Bank representatives to speak on the floor.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Quidnow, a second by Mrs. Bishop. All those in favor, please raise your hand. That's 5-0. And a nice save from Ms. Quidnow.
Thank you,
The water
thank
did
you.
not fall over. So, all right, you're welcome to the floor. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Good evening, I'm Attorney Andrew Briggs. I'm a board member of Farmers and Merchants Bank and also the attorney for Farmers and Merchants Bank. Also here is William Campbell. He's president of Farmers and Merchants Bank. And the bank has been very excited to become part of the Lake Mills community for a long time. We finally identified these.
Can you hit the little mic button there?
There, how's that?
Fantastic, thank you. You can continue from where you're at.
Sure. Farmers and Merchants State Bank has been excited to become a part of the Lake Mills community. They've purchased a couple of lots on the intersection of V and B. Those are in the town of Lake Mills. This is to annex it to become part of the city of Lake Mills. I'm certain that you will find that Farmers and Merchants State Bank will be a wonderful asset to the Lake Mills community. Everything is part of your boundary agreement, so it's logical that it would become part of the city of Lake Mills. And we're thrilled to be joining the community. I've worked with the bank for a long time, and I think you'll find that they're a wonderful contributing member. They donate significantly to the community, and they're excited to be a part of the community.
Thank you, Mr. Briggs. Is there any questions from council? All right, and thank you, Mr. Campbell, for being here tonight as well. Is there any additional comment from staff?
No, Mr. Griggs said it pretty well. I was going to state the difference between this one and the previous annexation with the town of Passcode is the municipal boundary agreement. So there's a different trigger in that regard. Town of Lake Mills property, which are designated within our growth area, you'll see this function occur.
All right, so the process here will be the second reading will be at our first meeting in February of council, and then the third reading will be the second meeting in February where we'll actually vote on the ordinance. So thanks again. If there's no further questions, we'll move on.
Thank you very much, and we're meeting with the Site Review Committee next week, so we'll also be discussing the layout and some of the more detailed plans. So,
Great.
all
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are a couple other issues that I think will probably be discussed at the Building and Site Operations meeting next week, but one of them will be the contract for water and sewer. Historically, what we do when they run a sewer line that long, we make an agreement with them that they pay for it, but they get reimbursed as people hook up. And so that'll probably be something you will be seeing sometime in the next month or two.
So where would that be coming from?
Lake Mills Market.
Oh, coming from the east across, okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wilkie. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, let's move to recommendations for future agenda as that wraps up our council business for the night. Any recommendations for future agenda? We do have a work session on Thursday, so I did send out some information, and Mr. Wilkie sent out some information on that as well. Anything for our meeting the 1st of February, or anytime in the future? Mrs. Bishop?
2 things, an update on the Lake Mills EMS contract, and then I had thought the Works Board voted on the wastewater treatment plant. I know it was a split vote, so I was kind of surprised we didn't see it today. So I'm looking for an update on that.
All right, on the EMS contract, do you want me to comment? We're continuing to get information back. We're going through an audit. We're probably looking at that sometime in March. Is that right, Mr. Wilkie?
We asked for a certain amount of information by the 15th of this month. They haven't provided it yet. We asked for them to get the audit going. They haven't done that yet. So, yeah, they haven't taken any action that we can comment on. They have provided us nothing from the last date we talked.
But as a council, we need to drive that issue forward one way or another. So at some point, if there's no information, we have to make decisions based on no information, I guess.
I would think that that's accurate.
I wonder if we could just have those 2 items, EMS and the wastewater treatment plant, as bullet items in your manager's report, next meeting, just that way it's on the agenda and gives you the opportunity to just fill us in on where it's at.
On the wastewater treatment, you're right, it was deadlocked at the Public Works meeting, a 3-3 vote. So there's 2 options out there that I guess we could actually look at all 3 options as a council, but they had limited down to 2 options. And we wanted to get some further information from Strand before we brought that to council. So Strand is actually working on that material right now. And we'll probably be seeing that maybe late February, 1st of March, I would imagine, at the council. Is that what you're looking at, Mr. Wilkie?
The second meeting in February, we hope to have it ready. We are meeting with the DNR tomorrow. So we're going to try and thin it down and hit some of those questions that were brought up during the meeting and see what we can hammer out.
So that'll be a very important decision, of course, because there's a big price tag attached to it, and it means a lot to the community to continue to get good services there, and it'll be an important vote when we do get that in front of council. So a lot of things to consider. Mrs. Curler?
I guess a suggestion slash question, Mrs. Bishop. I'm just wondering the status of the community center policy update that I know you were helping the staff with. Would you have a target for when we'll see that?
Yes, I did meet with city staff, went over their concerns, and we came up with a way forward. It has been, I don't want to say put on the back burner, but the city clerk was heading it up, and she has elections coming up, and a couple other things going on. So we will take that back up as we move forward into the year.
Okay, thanks.
Ms. Quidnell?
I do have a recommendation for a future city council meeting agenda item, and that is that the Parks Board has been deciding and deliberating on, or I should say deliberating and deciding on boat lifts. And so I would like to explore some discussion items with regard to that in future agendas. And I can talk with you more about that and what that would look like, if you'd like.
Would we be getting a recommendation from Parks Board? Where are you on that? Where are they on that, excuse me?
Yes, the recommendations that, we have a set of 3 different options, but what I believe that the Parks Board would like is a little bit of direction from City Council. And again, I will give you some, an idea of what that might look like. But it is my understanding that that the Parks Board wants the City Council to guide their process. On the flip side, it would be my recommendation that we do put together a proposal of the different options with regard to the boat lifts situation, what the problem is, what solutions there are, what potential problems may come up, and so forth. I believe that the Parks Board is concerned about a timeline and wanting to get this done quickly. However, with the amount of information that would need to be collected, I'm not sure if it's going to be a very quick decision.
Mr. Schreiner's no longer here, but do you know when the boat lifts go in?
Yeah, no, they go in generally late April to early May.
Yep.
Okay.
Water's a little bit on the cool side. The Parks Board did make a recommendation. Eric is putting together the information on what they recommended to come to the February 1st meeting.
Yes.
Eric will recommend against that. I think that it will be an interesting conversation.
So Parks Board has made a recommendation that staff doesn't seem to support at this point?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's accurate.
Okay. All right.
So we shall see how that discussion goes down.
So February 1st would be our next meeting.
Yes.
I guess we'll have some things on that agenda. All right.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I guess this is for our future agenda on Thursday, more of a question. The document that you sent to all of us by email, should that be attached to the agenda that's available on the public website, since that's a document we'll be discussing? I think there may be some interest in people attending, and it would be good for them to have access to the documents that we are all seeing.
I was going to do that tomorrow morning.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wasn't sure what the procedure was.
If you have to get access to Granite, yes, posting at the physical sites is no problem.
Okay,
I want to add that, yes.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to play cards.
Thank you for that point of order.
Yeah,
laughed.
I was
We're gonna-
looking up what kind of point that
order,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
We're going to play cards.
Excuse me?
We're going to play cards.
Euchre?
No.
Okay.
Innovation.
Ah,
Okay.
We're having a card game, is that what you're saying? So whatever comes out of the deck first will be first priority on our list? Is that how that works?
It's kind of like Go Fish.
by chance.
All right, is there any other comments for, or recommendations for future agenda items? That was great, thank you. All right, seeing none, I move to adjourn this meeting as of, I guess, 7:55. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.